My name is Brian. I went to a very good university, yet I work as a janitor at the grocery. I ended up taking this part-time cleaning job because of a number of situations. It's unfortunate, particularly given that you attended such a prestigious college. Although there are others who share my situation, I didn't mind working at a job where I could see the fruits of my labor right away. The areas I tidy up look fantastic. I get a feeling of satisfaction when I look at them. One day, as I was going about my business as normal, a woman walked up loudly. She was obviously in a terrible mood since she was scratching her head angrily. Catherine is a talented and stunning department head from one of our vendors. At work, she's the talk of the town. Though rumored to be quite capable, Catherine has a sharp tongue. I never got along with her because she would look down on you or make fun of you if she realized you were beneath her. I thought, oh boy, trouble is coming. I hope nothing negative occurs. With this thought in mind, I moved to a corner of the corridor in an attempt to avoid her. But Catherine drew nearer, as if to tease me, for some reason. Cleaning, you say? Seems like the ideal profession for losers in life, she mocked. I merely forced a smile and ignored it because I was used to hearing remarks like these. Catherine, perhaps feeling a little better, began to go. Well, it wasn't as horrible as I feared it would be. I sighed. However, something unexpected transpired next. Nearby, Catherine nearly fell after tripping over some cleaning supplies. Why the heck is there cleaning equipment here? She shrieked at me. What if I had suffered harm? I believed that she was to blame for not seeing where she was going, but bringing it up would have fanned the flames. Even after I said, I'm sorry, she remained enraged. Pardon me? Are you not saying, I sincerely apologize? She angrily said, don't minimize me just because I'm a woman. She then hurled her drink to the ground. There was a splattering of iced coffee everywhere, and the noise attracted a group of workers. I thought, oh no, this is getting out of hand because of me, but I was in too much of a panic to do action. When it seemed that things would not get any better, a coworker who witnessed all of this went to the store manager. When the manager did arrive, he heard the narrative and attempted to reassure Catherine, but she made no attempt to express regret. Conversely, she angrily confronted him with the undertraining of the staff and made a threat to sever the business relationship with the store. About 40% of the packing materials used in our store come from Catherine's company, which offers the best prices in the neighborhood. Breaking the agreement with her business would result in multiple tens of thousands of dollars more expenses for our store each year. Catherine didn't waver despite knowing this. The mild-mannered manager continued to bow his head in an attempt to defuse the situation. Even though I didn't agree with it, I told her so and the manager, and she left for the day. I went to see my grandma one holiday. I gave her some fruits and cool goodies because it has been so hot lately. She smiled, thanked them, and took them in her arms. Summertime visits to my grandmother's place were a family ritual when I was younger. I anxiously anticipated that day each year, looking forward to visiting her place every year. I used to play by the river and catch bugs with the neighborhood kids at Grandma's. One thing that comes to me is catching a large bug. But my grandmother's neighborhood has been getting less and less people. It's uncommon to see kids these days. The majority of the nearby homes are deserted and no one resides there anymore. That house is now empty as well. Although the deserted houses give me a sense of loneliness, the sunset I observed on my walk out was nonetheless breathtaking. I felt reassured by this and made my way home. Another day, Catherine came up to me as I was working my part-time job at the supermarket. I sensed disaster was on the way. I hoped that experience wouldn't repeat itself. I hastily relocated the cleaning items to a corner after having that notion. I would not make the same error twice, but when she drew nearer, Catherine glared at me and started lecturing me. Janitors have a certain dirty quality about them. Even as a guy, are you not ashamed to perform this kind of work? She was so disrespectful that I couldn't even express how shocked I was. We were having a talk when some senior executives who were there for a store inspection overheard us. I'm not sure who you are, but that's a really strange way to address our staff. As a woman, don't you also work in sales? Without realizing that the CEO was among them. What's wrong with being a woman working in sales? Yelled Catherine back. Being a guy or a woman has no bearing on it. You understand, don't pretend to be an expert. What she said stunned me. Despite being a man, was the last thing she said. Flustered, the store manager rushed over. Thank you for stopping by on this sweltering day, Mr. Smith. The manager introduced the CEO and Catherine, saying, Oh, Catherine, you're here too. Catherine appeared surprised, as if she hadn't realized he was the CEO. Catherine was so shocked that she was speechless, but the CEO corrected her politely. Sayings to others that you wouldn't want spoken to you are inappropriate. People shouldn't be judged on the basis of their line of work. In addition, Brian is contributing to society in addition to his janitorial labor. We work with the local government to support his objectives, and we totally support them. You see, I founded an NPO to address neighborhood concerns while I worked as a janitor. The non-profit organization I founded offers shopping support in rural communities. I was inspired to do this by my grandmother. I obtained my first choice job at a large trade company after graduating from a reputable university. My aim was to travel the world and change the world, but the rigorous nature of the work overwhelmed me, and I left the position after only 6 months. This was not intended to be the outcome. This was my first true failure. I had never had any major setbacks before. I went to my room and felt so defeated that I shut myself in. My mother instructed me to bring some groceries to Grandma's house, since she was concerned about my withdrawal. Her home was in the Highlands, a good distance from the town. It was a pain to shop there, so my mom would order things in bulk and have them delivered once a week. I reasoned that because I had nothing else going on in my life, I should at least assist with that. After a bit, I felt considerably better, so I started the task. To continue hiding away felt wrong. My grandmother would always thank me and greet me with a bright smile when I delivered the groceries. Those remarks meant the world to me because I was feeling so overwhelmed by the rigorous work and had lost my confidence. I came to see that even I had the power to change things. I became so happy that I began going to my grandmother's place almost every day. My interactions with her neighbors also increased as I paid her visits on a regular basis. We only exchanged pleasantries at first, but soon we were having longer talks. If it's not too much trouble, could you do some shopping for me too? Asked a neighbor one day. They suggested that while I was shopping for my grandma, I should also shop for them. The majority of people in this area own their own vehicles, but as they get older, driving gets more difficult, and carrying large groceries can be difficult. It is true that lifting large luggage into and out of a car can be taxing. I made the decision to lend a hand as best I could. I had begun working a part-time job about that time to help support myself. I was employed at a supermarket as a cleaning services employee, and I still am. I chose to begin with a part-time job since I knew I couldn't live off of my parents indefinitely. I still helped out with shopping on my days off and after work, even though I was employed. I desired for everyone to be content. Even though it was physically exhausting, the appreciation I got helped me stay focused and push over my tiredness. The manager then came up to me one day as I was leaving my job to do my regular bulk shopping. I assume you're off today, Brian. Why do you purchase so much? My regular huge purchases had caught the manager's attention, and he was inquisitive. I gave an explanation of how I was helping my grandmother's neighbor's shop. The manager then complimented me on my activities and said how much she liked my initiative. I was actually shocked by his appreciation, as he tends to be reticent. The manager gave me a drink as I was walking away and said, "Here, take this." The cold drink was a welcome relief on this hot day. I was moved by the manager's considerate act and thanked him before accepting the drink. After my shift ended, About a month later, the manager called me into his office. The mood in the room, all by itself, was strained. This gives me a horrible feeling. Does the business have problems? Will they allow me to leave? I could feel my heart pounding as I readied myself for his remarks. The manager asked, "Brian, have you considered starting an NPO to assist with shopping?" It was an unexpected suggestion. A non-profit organization. When I realized I wasn't getting fired, I felt relieved. Still, starting an NPO was not at all what I had anticipated. I never thought the manager would say something like that. During a casual conversation, the manager had brought up my shopping aid to the CEO. Inspired, the CEO remarked, "Why not make it a business? I'll offer assistance." The CEO's mother also struggled with shopping, living alone in a faraway place. She wishes her house was nearer to a store. It appears that the CEO experienced the same irritation upon learning of his mother's worries. Thus, after hearing my tale, he recommended establishing an NPO. Yes, it is a blessing to have the company's backing. But is it really possible for someone like me to succeed? After college, I worked for a company that I quit after just 6 months. I've never held a real job, and now I'm meant to launch a company. I told the manager how I really felt. The manager then said to me, "At first, everyone has doubts. I'll try my best to help, even though it might be difficult. Let's try our hardest at it." Despite my reservations, I felt motivated to give it a shot because of the manager's words of encouragement and the thoughts of my grandma and the people in the area. It is necessary for an NPO to have 10 or more members in order to be established. Thus, assembling individuals was the first stage. With the assistance of a few people, I was able to find volunteers. Numerous additional items were required for the installation. The application process was challenging and involved several new steps. I had hoped that may have been easier, particularly in terms of preparing the required paperwork. It was difficult because there were so many paperwork with technical jargon in them. I finished the paperwork somehow, sent it in, and waited impatiently for the evaluation. When we eventually received the go-ahead, everyone hugged and joyfully wept tears. Even though we were just getting started, it was a relief to be here. Word of mouth helped our shopping service gain popularity once we launched it. When their bulky goods were delivered home, people were appreciative. Not having to spend hours shopping was really appreciated. The service's delivery region was expanded as a result of the growing number of users and excellent comments. Even while business was increasing, I was still not making enough money to pay my own salary. I was struggling to make ends meet. I explained what I continued to do with my side gig. I'm still not drawing a salary, so I'm working part-time here, with a mocking smile. It's unlikely that Catherine ever imagined someone like myself making a positive contribution to society. She looked down, still full of lofty pride, and blushed. There was no honest apology that Catherine could offer. She walked out reluctantly, muttering an apology. Catherine mumbled, "I bet it won't work out anyway," loud enough for me to hear as she walked away. Why must I listen to that? Catherine's statements caused me to become quite angry. She made snap decisions without seeing everything. Although I couldn't forgive her, I also couldn't express my rage in front of the CEO. I was able to control my rage long enough to thank the CEO for mediating. He gave me encouragement to keep moving the firm ahead. My heart was comforted by the CEO's kind remarks, but my anger toward Catherine persisted. Being verbally assaulted and being looked down upon simply because I worked as a janitor was intolerable. I'll show her that even a janitor can make a difference. I was going to make it happen. I've since put in considerably more effort on the NPO. I performed postal mailings and flyer distribution to draw in new members in addition to doing my own deliveries. I was overburdened with more office responsibilities and part-time work. Man, this never ends. I thought to myself as I became overwhelmed by the amount of paperwork I had. The helpful and considerate team member intervened. Additionally, he assisted me with bookkeeping, which is something I'm really bad at. Brian, please don't try to handle everything on your own. You're too far away. I almost started crying after hearing the team member's heartfelt comment. Even though I had been putting in a lot of effort to win Catherine over, I was more motivated than ever to create a fantastic organization with these people. After extending our delivery regions for 6 months, I was able to stop working as a supermarket janitor. Our crew has expanded, and despite our tiny size, we have a lot going on. Everyone volunteered at first, but now we can give them a small income. A part-time wage, at least. Our services have improved, and the staff looks more responsible now that they are paid. I hadn't gone to the grocery store in a while because I had to take a break from duties like procurement to concentrate on managing the company. However, I was there that day to make our partnership stronger. I had a debate with the manager and was about to get out when I ran into Catherine. My mood darkened as flashes of our last fight raced through my head. Nevertheless, I maintained my poise and we exchanged pleasantries. I started to run, but Catherine stopped me. I apologize for the harsh remarks I made earlier. I was just so incredibly frustrated at the time. How come? It stunned me. I never imagined that someone with Catherine's arrogance would say sorry. Catherine came clean and said she was sorry for thinking less of janitors and for discriminating me because of my line of work. She was ashamed of her previous actions after realizing how much effort I was putting in. It appears that Catherine was going through a difficult period at the time. People who were upset that she was elevated to department head have been harassing her. She was the target of some hurtful remarks, particularly from the cleaning staff and older women at her place of employment. Sayings like, "Who does she think she is?" and "a woman as a manager" would be upsetting. She snapped at me as a result of this and a deal gone bad. It's true that I had been getting unpleasant comments, but I also thought janitorial work was unimportant. "I'm truly sorry," Catherine responded, considering it's essential for everyone's comfort. She so had difficulties as well. Although I was offended by Catherine's remarks at the time, I can't help but feel sorry for her now that I know her circumstances. You seem to have experienced a lot. Please don't be alarmed by it. It is all that matters that you comprehend. After I accepted her apology, we made up. Remain diligent in your commercial endeavors. I'll be there to support you. I'm grateful, Catherine. Continue demonstrating that women can succeed in leadership positions. I guess she wasn't anticipating my words because she seemed astonished by them. That was probably unexpected by her. I laughed out loud when I saw her look of surprise. Her lack of seriousness is uncommon to witness. Catherine laughed when she saw me laugh, and we had a nice chuckle together. In addition to the elderly, I also intend to help people who are getting home care and living alone. It's not a problem if they have family who can visit them frequently. Nevertheless, I believe those who can't or who live far away might benefit from some support. My goal is to make shopping a daily struggle for no one.